Hey there, I'm Lucy, and I got some splaining to do. So, my internet has been cut back, but it doesn't really matter because it's fast. Like, it's supposed to be slow, they cut it back, but I don't feel punished at all, and that's great. So, okay, first, this is Takoe Zuii. I call her Zuii. It's her English MEL English plus MEL English May's English list plus OTOs. I only have to do the CVVC because she's doing all the other stuff. And the reason is, like, I didn't give her a choice. I told her I am doing these OTOs. And she's like, well, I can do this, you can do this. And I'm like, yes, because she projected the release date of the bank to be December. And I said, no, this will not stand. I am not letting you wait until December. So I said, I am doing this. You can't stop me. But she did stop me from doing everything except for CVVC because she didn't give it to me. She only gave me the CVVC. So that's great. Good. And I have desktop audio muted because I am going to watch YouTube while I'm doing this. Because, I can and I want to. Now, before I get started, I'm going to be very quiet because I am going to be watching YouTube, of course. So, I'm going to give you one story and you can just replay it in your head for the next 40 minutes. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. But yeah, so because my internet's cut back, I'm free to watch YouTube literally whenever I want. So when I take my meds and go to bed and I can't sleep, instead of just pointlessly scrolling through Reddit and hoping I find something interesting, I can watch YouTube. And I've gotten into the angry video game nerd recently, and I really prefer his new stuff to his old stuff because in the beginning he really was the angry video game nerd, but now he seems more like the apathetic video game nerd who just throws in a bunch of curse words. And it's a lot more fun to watch because he's just like, and then I did the thing and did the thing, and oh no, bleep, bleep, bleep. But it used to actually be like yelling, and that's not fun. And I watched his video on Earthbound, and I remembered this dream I had. I don't remember when the dream was, and I don't know when I learned about Earthbound, but I dreamed I was in Earthbound without ever playing Earthbound. As weird as that sounds. And it was so crazy in the dream because it was like I felt like a real person and everyone looked like a real person, but the atmosphere was 100% like MS DOS quality with that color palette. I think you know what I'm talking about. Um, and it was just a bunch of walking down, but then in the dream, the whole you're meditating and then someone steals your arms thing. Like in the game itself, you're not on the screen. I don't think you might be on the screen, but you don't see your arms coming off. But in the dream, the arms really did come off, and the legs came off, and the ears came off. And it was so freaky. And I think it was one of those things where I'd read about it, and then I had the dream without ever seeing it. But then again, that might have been a repost that I actually watched like 10 years of something I'd watched 10 years ago. So, anyway, it's been 420, 4 minutes, 20 seconds of me talking about just a weird Earthbound dream I had, even though I've never touched a Super Nintendo system or a Nintendo Entertainment System. So, yeah. We're actually going to get to the OTOs after I open a video. It's an hour and 22 minutes, and I'm hoping my internet doesn't cut out halfway through. So, what? It's a down the rabbit hole. Oh. Okay. It's not down the rabbit hole. Y'all have no idea what's going on. Oh, and you can't hear it, but I'm gonna explain something. This isn't how I do OTOs, but like I want Zuii English to get released. I really do. So when Sin told me don't do it the way you always do it, I'm like, if it was anyone else, I'd be like, no, dude, I won't do that. But I love this bank and I want it to get released. So I was like, heck, if you told me to put the red light before the green light, I'd do it. She never asked me to do it because she knows what's what, but so yeah, like I would put the red line there, but she wants me to put it like here. All right. So anyway, I'm gonna turn on the video and get to it. This should take me 3 hours. I'll probably cut off the video around, what's it called, 45 minutes. But if I get really engrossed in the dang video I put on, then I definitely might forget to stop recording. So okay. Oh man. Dang. Like, the subject of this video essay just said, I'm so smart because I skipped grade 4. But, I knew these kids. It wasn't that they're like geniuses. The school system just really stunk. And they skipped like 2 grades. If, like, if I had started in public school, I would have graduated like 3 years early, I swear. But by the time anyone realized that I was like actually smart, I was already going into middle school and they were like, yeah, you shouldn't skip 7th grade. That one's actually like important. And I'm like, okay, it'd been nice to graduate a year early, but class 13. don't think you can see it, but I'm going to time zoom rate settings. Um, I'm changing it from 700 to 800 just so I can get a better view because the consonants in the higher pitch were pretty pronounced, but these are pretty not pronounced, and I can't go based on the full vowel because that's not how Sin does it. And like I said, if she told me to do them completely wrong, but she wanted them her way, and these aren't completely wrong, they're just slightly different based on taste and what resamplers we use. She told me to do them completely wrong. I would do them completely wrong in a heartbeat, and only for her because I love this bank and I want it released. Oh man. Okay, so the video I'm watching is like an hour and 30-minute documentary on someone who really doesn't need to have a documentary made on them, you know? I don't know where to put this. Let me open this up. So the guy legit doesn't need a documentary made on him because it's just like it's like, you know, he ain't he ain't nobody. Okay, yeah, she wants me to do this mostly right. He ain't nobody know nothing about him. But um like it's like nobody. No one knows who it is, so why pulling up drama, but then they're like, oh yeah, and he did this, and it's like, yo, like it ain't nothing bad. You do you, boo. But I ain't even saying it because it's just so sad. But it's like, it's past the point of you do you, boo, and it's just straight up like, kid. What? Yo, I keep having dreams that I am going back to high school after graduating, having a second senior year, and I always thought that's so impossible, that's so impossible, that's not something that happens. But this kid in this documentary, he went back to high school after graduating, called a returning senior just to take more classes, and I'm like, yo, that nightmare I have actually happens for some people. Yo, because it's like, dude, when I got graduated, like every single class, the next step up was straight up, I'd have to go to community college. Like, there was nothing left for me, but dang, I didn't know that nightmare could happen IRL. How to complain. Like, there are different tiers of private schools. And almost every time you hear about a religious private school, straight up, it's horrible. Like, you don't learn anything. Um, like, you don't learn anything. Like, I don't think, like, they even teach scripture. It's just kind of like they don't want you indoctrinated. And because of that, like, religious private schools really get a bad rap. But the private school I went to was really good. Like, you'd know that they didn't have, like, that many seniors, but the last time I passed by there, like, it was a year ago probably, their seniors had amassed a total of $1 million in scholarships. Like, not even kidding. Like, that's how high caliber it was. And the the kindergarten was right across from the office, and when you walked in, and it actually smelled good. Like, and I just thought that was normal. But then I went to public school, and every time you went into the elementary school, you wanted to just cry, sob, to get the stank of ammonia out of your eyes. Every single time. Like, I was so lucky that, like, the middle school wasn't part of the elementary school anymore. So, like, and, like, they didn't have any special ed stuff really at this Christian school, and I got treated kind of poorly because of the fact that my parents were divorced. Um, but like, and this is a really weird reason to say that the private school was good, but I was seen as like straight up um, mentally challenged at the Christian school because I kind of was. But I went to the public school and suddenly I was like Little Miss Genius. And it's like, but when you talk to someone about going to a private religious school, they're like, it was awful, it was awful, I will never put my kid through that. But I'm like, no, public school is awful. But I think magnet schools are actually public. And there are schools in Tennessee that are in the same area as the old nuclear testing sites or factory sites or whatever. And it's a public school, but the average ACT score was like 35. And if you're not a Southerner and you only took the SAT, that means that there wasn't a single score under like 30 or would attain the average, because 35 is 1 point underneath the absolute maximum. And that was a public school, and it was better than even the Christian school could ever hope to be. But, so it's just one of those things where it's like, just know what kind of world you're in. Whether it's worth the money to send your child to a school where like everyone is held to a higher standard. And one of the things that people would actually be shocked about is that they legally had to teach a science, and they really cared about perfect test scores. So they did a really good job compared to the public middle school. Like, the teacher broke down and sobbed at the beginning of the year and said that, like, teaching it went against everything she believed, but she legally had to. But at the public school, and I was in honors, so I didn't run into this, but a teacher literally said, I don't believe in evolution, so I'm not teaching it. Because they didn't care about test scores, so they literally had no reason to care and do anything that was against their beliefs, even though at the Christian school, they cared about test scores. So, yeah. I just have a really good view. Like, I don't care about how miserable I was or like the homophobia, because they put me on the best track, I think, giving the best track, I think, to actually becoming Little Miss Genius in the public schools. But the reason I left the private school is kind of because we just couldn't afford it anymore. So if I had a child, I couldn't afford to send them. So that's another factor. If you can afford the private school, maybe it's not good enough. Anyway, back to the video. I am really bad at doing OTOs and talking at the same time. Dang it. Internet done slowed down. This video isn't very good. Like, I really don't care. I don't really care to finish the video. Dang it. Yeah, this is dumb. Like, it's a dumb video. I'm not watching it. Alright. We're to 30. We're to 47 minutes. That seems like a good length. Alright. I need to pull up my downloads folder so I can watch videos that are in my downloads folder. I could do that right now, but it'll take a little bit of time, so. Alright, bye.